What's up, everybody? Welcome to the very first episode of season 2 of Authentically D. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ladidra Shackelford, and this is my podcast. So, I actually filmed about 7 or 8 other episodes where, of course, I had hair. So if you see those episodes, then you may be like, okay, is that the same person? Yes, it's me. I chopped all my hair off. Pretty much, I am filming this episode last, even though it'll be the very first one that you'll see. Now, why am I making a decision to film this episode? Honestly, this is probably the hardest one that I've had to make so far, which is why I held it off until closer to the launch. So guys, bear with me as I attempt to produce this episode. What you'll get from me is pretty raw, relatable, hopefully authentic, and just me being me. There's no need to be formal here, so what you get is what you get. So welcome. For those of you who will make the decision to rock with me from here on out, welcome. For those of you who I will lose, thank you so much for choosing to rock with me during the time that you did. I definitely appreciate you and respect you for any decisions that you make from here on out. All right, here we go. Guys, as you can see by the title, I left Christianity. Woo! All right, let's get into it. So the reason I made this particular podcast episode was because honestly, I felt like I owed it to the people that had followed me for so long. I kind of owed it to them to kind of explain what was happening. It's kind of challenging to go from being known for one thing, your friends, your family, everybody know, like you literally built up a platform on social media, not intentionally, but you were just being who you were at the time, and you built a platform. You gained thousands of followers, people who you inspired in a particular area, and all of a sudden, well, to them, it's all of a sudden, you're now this different person. And I didn't want to necessarily leave you guys hanging out there. For those of you who, only look to me for certain types of content, I didn't want to leave you guys hanging and kind of just questioning, okay, what the heck is going on with her? Like, she seems like a different person now. This is the same thing. Like, what is really up with her? So this is kind of what this episode is. I felt like this had to preface all of the other episodes. So this is my kind of explanation to you. Not that I have to do it, but I just feel like I wanted to kind of ease you guys into my, my what's now. So as you saw by the title, I did leave Christianity. Now, I have to say this. This was never the goal. Let me say that again. This was never the goal, and not something I ever, in 36 years of my life here, ever thought I would be doing or saying. So here's the point I want to kind of drive home before I get into it. If you ever come across a person where they've been devoted to this one thing or this one way of life, and this is what you've known them for, and let's say later down the line, you see them make this drastic change, just know they're not crazy. Know that there had to be something that brought about that change. Know that they're not just impulsively making a decision to do something, and so now you're just, talking about them or thinking, something's wrong with them. Like, it should make you question. If anything, it should make you have genuine questions to try and understand why this person did what they did. So I'll just say that you should be asking questions instead of like, throwing out judgment. Just as a a tip for future references to anybody else that may be going through something similar. So yeah. So I went on a personal seeking journey about a year and a half ago, and I literally felt like there had to be more than what I was experiencing in church. Okay, so that's kind of where it started. That's where it started in my adulthood. There has to be more than this. Like, there has to be more than the church world. There has to be more than me going to church on Sundays, on Bible study, experiencing, the flow of the service, the order of service that we're used to, and going home, my personal worship and relationship. It just had to be more than that. That was just not enough for me. And in fact, that was never enough for me. Even as a child, like, I would have so many questions that nobody had answers to. Of course, I was told to not question God, not question certain things. I was kind of looked at as rebellious or controversial when I would ask questions. Like in Bible studies, I had a lot of questions. And a lot of things just didn't make sense. And then I was told that it wasn't supposed to make sense. So you just kind of brush it under the rug. But then you get older, and as an adult, it's like you come to a point where you can no longer sweep things under a rug or act like they don't exist. And so I had to be honest with myself and say, okay, I need to get to a place where I can know what is true to me. What is truth to me? And so that's what I did. I personally set out to uncover and learn what it is that I believed, and I was determined to be open to whatever that brought me, whatever conclusion that brought me to. I was determined that because that wasn't enough, that I was going to be open to whatever it was that I found. And guys, it was a journey. Okay. So what I did, I first said, okay, I'm going to just read the Bible. I'm going to read the Bible. I'm going to take my relationship seriously with God, and I'm going to read the Bible and really and truly study and, develop this personal relationship. So I did. I opened the Bible, Genesis, and I promise you, just about every verse I read kind of just stopped me in my tracks, because I was just like, wait, what? This actually doesn't make sense. This, how is this possible if this, or like my critical thinking skills like really, really opened up. But not only that, I realized I did not like the characteristics, the qualities, the traits of God in the Bible, the God of the Bible that I was literally reading about, that I was told to read about, that we preach and, sing about and basically devote our entire lives. I did not like this deity, this person, or, this spirit. I did not like the character. To me, God came across as angry, as narcissistic, as unforgiving, as extremely jealous, as manipulative, as arrogant. And I know it sounds crazy, like me rattling off these negative traits, but I literally felt like I was in a toxic relationship, or reading about a toxic person, the more I continued to read the book of Genesis. So Genesis had me like in a whole chokehold for like a month, because I would try to dissect and like understand context and like really try to wrap my mind around how in the world are we singing about this God that's supposed to be so good, but everything I read in his Bible is opposite of that. Like in this particular, book. And I'm not going to give examples. You can read for yourself, but I have plenty of examples of what I'm referring to. But that's not what this episode is about. And again, it's not to persuade you, dissuade you, conform you, or anything like that. That I'm just sharing my personal journey. And so I didn't like the characteristics, but so it started to make me feel like, okay, it's going to be hard for me to sing about this person or this deity because I don't really like him. Like, and it sounds horrible, but that's the truth. And that's how I felt. And so I continued to read and read and read and read. And then the other thing I realized was that, okay, the narrative itself doesn't make sense to me. Like moving along to, let's say, the New Testament, like the narrative itself didn't make sense to me. I couldn't understand for the life of me why we are considered sinners at birth, why we need a savior, why we were just filthy rags from the time that we were born. And we needed saving from something. We needed saving. We needed a savior. We needed to be rescued from hell. We were this just terrible, wretch undone, which for me, it was hard to like kind of put myself in that category because I never saw myself as like a bad person. Like, no, I'm far from perfect, but I couldn't see myself as like, oh, I'm just this horrible person who needs to be saved from something. So the narrative didn't make sense. I didn't want to blame Adam and Eve for bringing sin into the world. That story didn't make sense either. It was just so many stories in the Bible that as I read them, I was just like, is this what we really are we crazy? Like, what is wrong with us for actually believing this stuff? And so I couldn't shake what I was feeling. Like, I literally could not shake that feeling like this is some BS. In the Old Testament, it was just a lot going on. Like the number of abnormal sexual activities, I will just say it like that. The perversion, the murders, it's just a lot going on in there, man. And it just, I don't know. It just didn't make sense to me. Okay. So the other thing that kind of happened or that I realized was that, church today, like the modern day church, it just simply does not reflect, church in the Bible. Like reading about the church in Acts actually got me excited. Like I was pretty excited about learning how the Church of Acts was. Like they broke bread together, they fellowshiped, they prayed. That was their daily life. And today, like the way that church has been constructed, it is basically a performance of 3 songs, an offering, and an inspirational message. And that's pretty much it. Like people go home, or they get hyped up, they get emotional. They have this energetic experience is what I call it. And then they go home. So it doesn't really do a lot. It's not very impactful in my opinion. The other thing I realized, and I'm kind of going through this fast because I just need to get this episode out before I can move on to everything else. The other thing I realized was that literally everything that I needed was already inside of me. Like, I believe that we're born with the spirit inside of us already. And that is what leads and guides us in this world. To anything that we need, we can literally have it. We can manifest it. It will lead and guide us to every single thing as we navigate through life, but I believe it's already inside of us. The other thing that I really struggle with so heavily was, well, 2 things. The fact that, how the Bible talks about greater work shall we do. it was like I wasn't seeing any greater works. I personally just was not seeing it. It's like, yeah, we may witness something that happens here or there and we call it a miracle, but it's like it's so few and far between. It's like that thing just was going to happen anyway. And to me, if we're saying God is really in control, then to me, God seems to be a little inactive in this world. Like, if he is truly in control, if God has all power, is he just making a decision to not do anything, to not be present? Because it is a lot. It's a whole lot going on that is just terrible in this world. And I believe Christianity can sometimes come across as selfish because we say cliches like, God is good to me because I woke up this morning and somebody else didn't. It's like, why would you even let that come out of your mouth, right? Or we say things like, I could have died in that car accident, such and such. Other people died in that car accident, but he spared my life. Like, that is selfish. That is selfish. Such and such guy had, cancer, and, he spared me. What? The hurricane, hit Florida, but it didn't hit us. We thank God. What? We thank God that somebody else died and you didn't? So God chose to kill them and to spare your life, and so he's a good God? Like, I don't understand the cliche of God being a good God, because unless you're a selfish person, because it's hard for me to say God is a good God when I just watched my cousins bury their, mom and dad within a span of 10 months. It's hard to say God is a good God when I have a friend who has 4 kids. One of them has severe autism and is heavily dependent on, her for everything. And it has taken a toll on her life, on her quality of life. Like, it's hard to say God is a good God when you see children walking around with disabilities, people dying of cancer, terminal illnesses, but God is a good God. Where? God is a good God where? In your little small circle of, I was able to pay my light bill and I have no money. That's how he's so good. Like, I got a house and my credit score is bad. That's why he's so good. That is selfish. And if you have a heart, I don't know. It's something, I don't know. My heart just goes out to others. I think about others a lot more than I think about myself. Yes, self-love, self-care is very important, but I actually care about other people. And so when you take your time to kind of put yourself in their shoes, it's hard to say God is a good God. But carry on. Carry on. I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. It's angry laughter. Not angry laughter. I'm no longer angry, but it's not, I'm not trying to make fun. Yeah, so I'm going to wrap this up. Again, I just wanted to put this out there. Ultimately, I found my truth and what is true to me. And because I am so confident in that, nothing can deter me, nothing can convince me otherwise. I know a lot of you will disagree with this, but this is my decision, and I still love my Christian friends. I still respect and accept everyone. And I would hope that you would somehow, some way, at some point, do the same. But if not, I understand. All I do ask is that you respect me as I continue on my personal journey, and that you would actually seek truth and find out what it is that's true to you, instead of going along with the narrative that you were given to believe, as a child. And if that does lead you to Christianity, great. If it leads you to Buddhism, great. If it leads you to being Muslim, great. If it leads you to Hindu, Find what works for you. Is it Hinduism? Sorry if I messed it up. Find what works for you, and let that be true to you. And I believe that this world will be a much better place if we all came to a point of love and acceptance and respect for each other, regardless of our individual, personal religious beliefs. So, with that being said, I'm doing me. It is great. I am happy. I am free. I am uninhibited. I think that's the word. Uninhibited by religion, by the rules, by all of it. So yes, you gonna see me acting a fool. Not acting a fool. I'm just playing. Like, I'm not lawless by any means. I have a spirit that convicts me, um, and that I have boundaries that are still present. That's the great thing um about that. So, but you will see me moving a little differently. Some of you have already seen it, and it's just who I am. It's who I've always been, but I was suppressing the authenticity. Yes, I was suppressing the authentic version of myself so that I could appease others. I was big on people pleasing. I was big on making sure I was doing the right thing. And that's one thing about me. I will say, if I am committed to a thing, I'm going to be committed to the thing. I'm not going to do it half. I'm not going to do it half-hearted. I'm going to do it wholeheartedly. And that's the thing. So because I'm no longer committed to Christianity, I'm not doing Christianity. I respect it, but I'm not going to be inhibited by a particular religion. So if you want to label me anything, I personally don't have a label to give myself. I don't ascribe to religion of any kind. However, I can respect and I can pull from different ones, and I can learn from different ones. And I have amazing conversations with people of various religions. So I think it's a beautiful thing. But if you want to give me a label, just call me a realist. I believe that we're given one life to live, and that life may not be, so great sometimes. I believe we have the ability to control certain narratives of our lives. However, I believe, life happens, and I'm trying my best not to use profanity because I want to be monetized. So I'm gonna just say, live your life, be the best version of yourself that you can be, and when life happens, it happens. Have your family and friends around you that can, surround you with love. Have genuine people who actually care about you. Foster community, foster real relationships, and enjoy your life. And I believe we only get one to live. I'm not going to go into, the heaven and hell thing. That's another topic for another day, but stay tuned for all of my episodes because it's about to get real. I literally wanted to just put this out here so I can finally get it out, and then I can go ahead and release the other episodes. Guys, I hope you have an amazing rest of your life's journey, wherever that path may lead you. I just hope that, you are true to you. I want you to be your most authentic self. I want you to have the courage to be you, and to be uninhibited by anything or anyone else. All right, guys, take care. And I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Authentically D.